My name is Marcus.
My name is Isaac.
My name is Joshua.
My name is Haley.
My name is Christian.
We are from Polanco Trial School. This podcast is about our GP team project. We are focusing on poverty and equality, and today we'll be talking about living problems in Hong Kong.
Our topic is poverty and inequality, while our subtopic is the poverty gap. The issue that we are going to be exploring is the high disparity of wealth between the rich and the poor in Hong Kong. So our aim is to raise awareness of the high disparity of wealth between rich and poor in Hong Kong, and our outcome would be a series of podcasts.
This is our last podcast, but still kindly subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to turn on notifications. First, I'll talk about Hong Kong, the basics about Hong Kong living problems. Most people in Hong Kong have a house to live on. According to the government statistics, private flats are most occupied in Hong Kong with a 67% occupation, followed by public houses with 32.2% of people, and lastly, subdivided flats which have 0.8% people. However, subdivided flats are on quote not legal in Hong Kong due to the fact that it's very dangerous to live on. But on the other hand, the government has not interfered with the problem as many people will become homeless when residents are told to leave their houses.
Speaking of homelessness in Hong Kong, the number of homeless people has been increasing every year since 2007. You can see on the graph that 2006 was the lowest point, and it has been increasing since then. Even though the percentage of homeless people overall is not as high, it is still a very big problem. In addition, from the previous podcast, we know that more and more people are getting low-income jobs, which means the relative poverty is a major issue for Hong Kong if the homeless rate continues to skyrocket. Actually, the root cause of homelessness is the inability to pay rent, which is also due to the absence of jobs, like we said in the first podcast. So the government found that over half of the registered people sleep in parks, playgrounds, car parks, and other locations such as flyovers, public toilets, bus stops, and 24-hour fast food restaurants. The most commonly cited reason for homelessness is the inability to pay rent owing to unemployment. Others said that they could not find any affordable housing or find a place to live after being discharged from prisons or other institutions. Of those registered last year, 92 people said that this was a personal choice with quotations. Because they do not have a job, they have no income, and they are also unable to afford the rent with the small subsidies, especially in places like Hong Kong where the rent is very high. Hence, they have no choice but to sleep in places that are free of charge, for example, toilets, bus stops, and fast food restaurants. These people are also commonly referred to as muck refugees. It is an even more severe problem now because COVID has caused these places to be extremely dangerous as they are in public space and everyone has been going there. Hence, these muck refugees are also extremely vulnerable to COVID for this reason, and the government should deal with these problems as soon as possible to prevent them from being infected. In a study published in March, the NGO Society for Community Organization, also known as SOCO, identified 384 homeless people who slept in 24-hour McDonald's branches in December 2017. The number was more than 6 times than in 2013. SOCO community organizer Ng Wai Tong told the commercial radio on Wednesday that the number of homeless people is likely to increase in summer, as bedbugs, a common problem in subdivided flats, are more active when the weather is warmer. He said that the upward trend of female street sleepers may be partially explained by the availability of 24-hour fast food restaurants, which provides a relatively safe environment for women to spend the night. So here we can note that the perspective of these refugees is that they would rather stay homeless than go to subdivided flats sometimes because there may be more problems such as safety, for example, fire hazards, and during the summer we know that there are bedbugs, which is a common problem. This is very unfortunate to see in Hong Kong, knowing that Hong Kong is a more developed city, let alone that there are way more other cities in the world that are not as developed as Hong Kong, and lots of these problems reside in them. However, globally, people seem to be aware of the issue in their own city or country, and globally, people seem to be more aware of the issue in their area, and overall, the homeless rate is decreasing, which is a good thing.
Why are subdivided flats still here? We have to talk about the distribution of houses in Hong Kong to answer that. People have to send an application in order to receive the public flat. However, the waiting time will take as long as 6 years. The waiting time depends on your age and status, so you have a priority if you're an elderly. But still, as an elderly, you have to wait for 3 to 4 years. Imagine where you will be living in those years. Due to this problem, the demand of subdivided flats increased, and therefore the need of subdivided flats increased as well. Subdivided flats is small and might not be the best place to live in. However, it is cheap, and also it's better than not having a home. Also, residents living in subdivided flats tend to have smaller social circles. Living in such poor conditions may lower self-esteem, making them more introverted and less sociable.
We've been talking mostly about the poor people living in Hong Kong. What about the upper class and middle class? Not all upper class people own and live in mansions and private housing. Owning several properties is only affordable to those who live the most luxurious lives. Private housing in Hong Kong is the most expensive out of any place in the world, with an average price of 1.2 million US dollars. On the other hand, the middle class in Hong Kong often have to spend a large percentage of their income on rent if they can't afford private housing. In some cases, this rent could even take up close to 50% of a family's income.
As we said before, due to the unemployment rate in Hong Kong is falling, meaning that there are more middle-class workers becoming low-income workers because there are less and less job opportunities, and there are not enough skilled workers to support the community. This results in the consumer spendings gradually decreasing, and also at the same time, it affects the supplier's profit also decreasing. The whole society's income is over decreasing. Therefore, there will be fewer middle-class people who have the ability to buy private housing. Furthermore, due to COVID-19, the overall living standard has also been decreasing. Bad living standards include the factors of availability and quality of housing, the general health around the area you live in, and also the air quality.